Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be doing a backstory to The Witcher 3. So before I do my main playthrough of it, everyone will understand what's going on and it won't be as confusing, because honestly I got a bit confused when I was first watching it because I had no idea what was going on or any knowledge of what was happening. So I'm hoping that if I make this, it'll help you all understand it. Okay, let's go. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing we need to cover is that The Witcher is a series of games based on a series of books. Now, these books are written by a Polish man, so The Witcher basically originates from Poland. And the main character that the books have come to focus on, and the games, is this character on the screen right now, called Geralt of Rivia. Now, Geralt is a witcher, and a witcher is a person who fights monsters for coin. He's basically a mercenary for hire, but instead of killing people, he kills monsters. Now, witchers only came about because they were forced into mutations of sorts. So, Geralt only has his white hair because of all the experiments and mutations he's undergone. So, witches originated from children who were trained at the Witcher Keep or Castle of Kaer Morhen. So this training involves heavy experiments, which obviously make them better fighters, it makes them faster, they've got better senses. Another thing is that the witches can take potions that normal men couldn't. So these are potions that would turn the insides of a normal man into jelly, but witches can take them and they'll actually be fine. You know, it really doesn't affect them. So the experiments that were done on them also let them, well, the witches use something called signs, and signs are basically the Jedi Force powers, but for witches. Now, the thing about all the experiments is that witches are meant to have no emotions after all of them. So if there's any other witches in the game, that's why, if you see that none of them have any emotions, you can really see that they're just blank. Now Geralt is different because he managed to keep all of his emotions and feelings after he'd undergone all the experiments. Now, he could have been a mistake, or he might have been the first of a new breed of witches who had emotions. We don't know. Now, Geralt has absolutely tons of friends in the world. But what? So, who is Siri, you ask? Now, a little bit of backstory to this. So, imagine Geralt, he's monsters, and he's asked to remove a curse from this man who is betrothed to the princess of a kingdom called Sintra. So he lifts the curse and he asks something called the Law of Surprise. Now the Law of Surprise means that a witch can be given anything as long as he doesn't know what it is. And it turns out that the gift he's given as a reward is actually a child. Now he's given Siri, but he doesn't actually accept her. As soon as he sees that she's a girl, he rejects her and leaves her and goes on his way. And about 6 years later down the line, he's going through a woodland and he bumps into this little girl, and all these druids are after her and they want to make her this druid priestess, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to get her out of here, and he takes her to a safe place, and he finds out that this is Siri. This is the girl that was promised to him a long time ago, you know? And once again, he rejects her and leaves her in the care of other people. Many years later, again, well, not many, imagine like 3, we have Siri ending up with this family of merchants. And the merchants say to her, "We know Geralt, and we could take you to him." So the merchant reunites Geralt and Siri. And Geralt finally accepts and takes her to Kaer Morhen to be trained as a witcher. Now, Siri never underwent any of the mutations, but what they did find out is that she's something called a source. She's a natural origin point of magic, so she can use spells. And she's taken to another place away from Kaer Morhen a few years later, and she's taken to basically the Hogwarts of the Witcher world. And there she learns how to use magic, but she keeps getting hunted down by people because obviously she's a source, so she'd be very helpful to some people. Now, not only is she a source, but Siri finds out that she has the ability to cross dimensions. So she can simply just think of it, and she can open a portal and go to a different world. Now, this was fine and dandy, apart from the fact that when she first travels to a different world, this is when she's older, when she first travels to a different world, she meets a different species of elf. Now, just let me explain. So, imagine there's a different species of elf, led by their king, called Eredin. Now, Eredin is the leader of something called the Red Hunt. But what they're more commonly known as to the people of The Witcher is the Wild Hunt. And Eredin is the king of the Wild Hunt, and the Wild Hunt can cross dimensions like Siri, and they aim to go around killing lots of people and just adding them to their undead army. And the problem is, they feel that because Siri has these powers, they should have it as well, because Siri only has the ability to cross dimensions because she's got something called Elder Blood. Now, Elder Blood was it originally came from elves. So imagine one elven ancestor, he breeds with a human. That's something unheard of, really, and they pass on this trait, this ability of being able to cross dimensions until they reach Siri. Now, Siri can cross dimensions because she has Elder Blood. The elves think that the elves from the other dimension believe that they should have this power back. They really don't agree with why she should have it in the first place, so they aim to capture her. So Siri has been on the run from then, and she's finally back in the world of The Witcher. Geralt has another friend, well, more than a friend really, it's the love of his life, and she's called Yennefer of Vengerberg, and she's a sorceress, and she's sort of the mother figure for Siri. Now, the world of The Witcher is not a friendly place, because before humans arrived in the world, so imagine that our Earth is the Witcher Earth right now. Imagine before we arrived, instead of there being dinosaurs, there were dwarves, elves, non-humans like that. Now, when humans arrive on the continent, they rapidly grow in size and scale over a few centuries. So over 500 years, humans set up massive cities, and they actually subject dwarves, elves, etc. to lots of punishment, and it's basically racism. Humans are being racist to elves and dwarves because they see them as second-class citizens. Now, to this day, there has been a group called the Scoia'tael, and that's a group formed of elves, dwarves, anything, trolls, and they all fight against humans. So they're seen as terrorists, but their motives are good if you can understand them, because they're being prejudiced. It's like they're taking a more violent version of Martin Luther King's speeches. Now, in the world of The Witcher, there are absolutely tons of kingdoms. So you've got the Northern Kingdoms, which are a big amount of kings and kingdoms, and they actually all fight amongst each other because they're squabbling pettily over land. But then to the south is a huge empire called the Nilfgaardian Empire. Yes, laugh at the name, Nilfgaard. Imagine the Nilfgaardian Empire as the Roman Empire. They are opinionated, strong, racist, vicious, and they prosecute non-humans. But at the moment in time, siding with the Nilfgaardian Empire is better than the Northern Kingdoms, because the Northern Kingdoms are now being taken over by someone called King Radovid. Now, King Radovid is leading absolutely hundreds of witch hunts, which really is a dick move. I mean, he's killing the herbalists. You know, he's killing your doctor down the street simply because he accuses them of being a witch. You know, now during the actual wars between the Northern Kingdoms and the Nilfgaardian Empire, there was a point where they actually had a year of a truce, and in this truce, something called the Rivian Pogrom occurs. Now, it's where humans in the town of Rivia actually rioted against non-humans. Now, Geralt was in the town as well, and he really didn't want to get involved, but his hand was forced because, you know, these are humans. Imagine that it's just racism. The humans are attacking the non-humans for no reason. The non-humans are trying to be part of a community, and they're just having none of it. So Geralt steps in to try and intervene, and he's killed. Yeah, you heard me. He's killed. He's stabbed straight through the gut with this boy he spared with a pitchfork. And in the process, the love of his life, Yennefer, is also killed. Now, you're thinking, well, how can there be a game? You know, he's dead. He's dead before the game even starts. This is even before the first game. He's already dead. But, remember, he's got an adopted daughter, Ciri. And Ciri takes Yennefer and Geralt, revives them, brings them back to life, and then creates an island for them. A magical island where they can just love each other. There you go. Everything's fine and dandy. It's fine. Everything's over. Or so you thought. Not long into their stay at this island, Geralt and Yennefer are attacked by the Wild Hunt, who have followed... Well, they haven't followed Ciri, but the Wild Hunt moves between dimensions and they attack people. They kill people to add them to their army. So they kidnap Yennefer. And Geralt spends a lot of time tracking the Wild Hunt down, and when he finally tracks them down, the only way he can really get Yennefer released is by trading his soul for hers. And Geralt becomes an undead member of the Wild Hunt. He's lost. Now, imagine that the whole deal with Ciri meeting the King of the Wild Hunt happens now. Imagine that it's happening now. And Geralt's just hearing about it as a member of the Wild Hunt. And he thinks to himself, shit, they're not going to hurt my daughter. I am actually going to stop them. So he manages to break off from the Wild Hunt and regain his life. So he's got back into his own body. And this is where The Witcher 1 starts. So he wakes up from being somewhere, nobody knows where he's been, and he wakes up and he can't remember a thing.